The Young and the Restless spoilers update for Tuesday, February 25, reveals that Sharon Newman and Phyllis Summers will be forced to team up. So let's talk about the hostages' next step. Phyllis and Sharon have both become kidnapping targets, so they'll be disoriented when they finally regain consciousness in a gross apartment. Sharon and Phyllis may realize they were ambushed and drugged before getting thrown into captivity together. Of course, it's possible Sharon will point the finger at Phyllis depending on who wakes up first. Sharon might wonder if Phyllis is taking matters into her own hands with a revenge scheme after all. Then again, it could be Phyllis who accuses Sharon of going back off the rails. If Sharon is already awake when Phyllis opens her eyes, she might initially think Sharon is her captor. However, it shouldn't take long for Sharon and Phyllis to compare notes here. Phyllis and Sharon will eventually figure out they're both stuck in the same boat, so they'll know an alliance would be better than more fighting. I&R spoilers say Phyllis will discover that she's in serious trouble and realize Sharon could be her only source of help right now. Sharon will have that same realization and will make a choice she'd rather not make. Sharon and Phyllis obviously won't like being forced into this partnership, but working as a team will be their best chance at scoring freedom. Phyllis and Sharon may consider a potential escape plot and debate who might have put them into this hostage situation. It sounds like Sharon and Phyllis will do some brainstorming as they try to come up with some solutions. It hasn't been that long since Sharon was held captive in the sewer, so she certainly won't like landing in a similar predicament so soon. Sharon's accommodations will be a little more comfortable this time, but she'll still want to get the heck out of there ASAP. Phyllis will want the same thing, so stick with us for updates on any shocking captor news and more predictions on her strategy session with Sharon. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Sharon and Phyllis will have to pull off a team effort if they want reunions with their families. We'll have other sizzling Young and the Restless spoilers, predictions, news, and updates to read up on, so make us your favorite Wooly and our hotspot. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Pulse Canvas. It's me, Julie here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching, so let's dive into today's video. The Young and the Restless scoop for the week of February 24 reveals Adam Newman and Chelsea Lawson will give in to their feelings. Also coming up, Sharon Newman and Phyllis Summers will find themselves in dire straits. Plus, Damian Kane will decide to stick around Genoa City for a while, and Victor Newman will task Michael Baldwin with another assignment. I&R spoilers tease Victor will once again summon Michael to the ranch. Of course, Michael will assume he's there for a progress report on the mustache vendetta against Jack Abbott. But instead, he'll be told to dig up any dirt he can find on Damian. Y&R Weekly Scoop. Damian interrogates Lily about her love life. Speaking of Nate Hastings' half-brother, he'll put Lily Winters on the hot seat about her love life. Lily will laugh but will ultimately admit she's single. It seems their date will go well because Damian will decide to set down roots in town. Meanwhile, Sharon and Phyllis will wake up and find themselves locked in a dank and dark basement. But who is keeping them there? Regardless, their families will worry about their whereabouts, and eventually, they'll realize the two ladies could be in dire danger. Other Y&R spoilers tease Audra Charles will set some ground rules with Holden Novak. Plus, Victor will have a warning about Sharon for Nick Newman, and Sally Spectra will catch up with Audra. Young and the Restless scoop, Chelsea's resolve will finally waver. Finally, Chelsea's resolve towards Adam will waver. She'll even admit that living with him at the ranch has brought back some good memories they shared together. So when he invites her to have dinner with him, she'll accept. They'll have a romantic dinner, and afterwards, the former couple will give in to temptation. But will Adam and Chelsea decide to get back together? All signs point to yes. The Young and the Restless spoilers update for the week of February 24 to 28 reveals that Sally Spectra will get some stunning news while Nick Newman receives a Sharon Newman warning. Adam Newman will also dazzle Chelsea Lawson, so let's discuss what's in store. After Chelsea agrees to a romantic dinner with Adam, he'll work extra hard to impress her. Adam's plan should pay off since it looks like Chelsea will land in bed with him by the end of the night. Meanwhile, there'll be plenty of panicked GC residents due to Sharon Newman disappearing along with Phyllis Summers. Chance Chancellor will have a hunch that the cases could be linked, and he'll be right since Y&R fans will see Phyllis and Sharon held hostage together. Nick, Mariah Copeland, Daniel Romalotti Jr. and Summer Newman will all do whatever they can to pitch in with the search. It looks like Billy Abbott will want to help as well, but Daniel and Nick will hide a secret from him. Billy has a knack for making things worse, so Nick and Daniel may keep him out of the loop as new hints emerge. As for Sharon and Phyllis, they'll realize they're stuck in a dire situation. A little teamwork could go a long way in a scary situation like this, so look for Phyllis and Sharon to join forces. While Damian Kane decides to stay in Genoa City on a long-term basis, Victor Newman will give Michael Baldwin some new instructions. Michael's next job should involve Aristotle Dumas, the mystery guy who's Damian's real boss. After Audra confesses her Holden history to Nate, she'll be relieved when he forgives her deception and moves past the whole thing quickly. Even so, Audra will have some fears since Holden will presumably be planning an extended stay in GC along with Damian. Although Audra will push for boundaries, Holden may find it tough to obey them due to his obvious feelings for her. Once Sally sits down for a catch-up session with Audra, she'll get some shocking updates. Audra will no doubt spill to Sally about all the Damian and Holden drama. Sally may confide in Audra as well and admit she's worried about Billy's growing obsession with Phyllis. It could leave Sally making some unsettling predictions about her romantic future with Billy. Back with Victor, he'll have a warning for Nick to consider, one that involves Sharon. Victor may sense that Nick's getting more attached to his ex through all these rescue missions. That could leave Victor ready to sound the alarm and warn Nick that it's a bad idea for him to reunite with Sharon romantically. Of course, Nick's primary concern will be tracking Sharon down and getting her out of the danger she's stuck in. The Young and the Restless spoilers say the week of February 24 to 28 will bring some surprises when it comes to Sharon and Phyllis' storyline, so stay tuned. The Young and the Restless spoilers for the week of February 24 to 28 suggest Genoa City can be a revolving door where characters come and go, only to return again. Learn more about the casting changes that will take place over the next 5 days, and a character you'll see much more of by reading below. Cop takes center stage. While Summer Newman and Daniel Romalotti notice Phyllis Summers was MIA last week, during the week of February 24 to 28, Mariah Copeland and Nick Newman will realize Sharon Newman has disappeared without a trace as well. Summer beckoned Chance Chancellor to the GCAC during the Thursday, February 20 show in hopes that he could help. After all, Chance kind of owes the family one for wrongfully arresting Daniel for Heather Stevens' murder. As Sharon will be gone too, looks like the recurring cop character will get far more screen time over the next 5 days as he investigates the disappearance of the two women. Fans can expect to see him during the Monday, February 24 episode, as Nick and Mariah also reach out for help to locate Sharon. Baddie returns or new threat? Y&R fans know that Ian Ward is still very much alive, but everyone else in GC believes he's long gone, which means the baddie won't be on anyone's radar when it comes to Phyllis and Sharon's disappearance. Still, is he the one behind this, or could someone else surface as a new threat? At some point during the week of February 24 to 28, the person holding Phyllis and Sharon hostage will be exposed to fans. Both women will be seen gagged and waking up from being drugged on Monday's show, so there's a good chance that Aina will return and is behind this, but only time will tell. Are you excited about the week of February 24 to 28? Share your thoughts below. Watch UI&R on CBS Daily to catch all the drama in GC, and visit the site often for the most up-to-date Young and the Restless news and spoilers. The Young and the Restless spoilers update for Monday, February 24, reveals that Nick Newman and Maria Copeland will search for Sharon Newman, while Audra Charles' confession stuns Nate Hastings. At the coffee house, Nick will run into Mariah, who'll admit she hasn't seen or heard from Sharon lately. After Nick admits they had plans this morning, he'll call Sharon and get her voicemail. Maria will call the office and realize Sharon isn't there either, so she'll start to get concerned, especially since Sharon isn't answering work calls or emails either. When Chance Chancellor pops up and hears that Sharon is missing, he'll admit Phyllis Summers is missing too. Daniel Romalotti Jr. and Summer Newman will be summoned so they can all discuss the potential connection. Although Daniel won't see why Phyllis and Sharon would go anywhere together, Maria will imply that Phyllis might have abducted her mom. Summer will take umbrage and act like Sharon could have just as easily lured Phyllis into a setup. Chance will remind everyone that there's no kidnapping evidence yet and suggest that they're just trying to nail down a possible link. Nick will think the one thing they can all agree on is that they want Sharon and Phyllis found. While Nick and the others mull over what might have happened, Phyllis and Sharon will be passed out on the floor of a grimy little apartment. It'll be obvious that someone's taken them hostage, so stick with us for more predictions on all the captivity drama. At the old ranch house, Adam Newman will get honest with Chelsea about how much he loves living together. After Adam confesses his recent dream, he'll reveal that he's falling back in love with Chelsea and struggling to fight it. Chelsea will decide to get honest as well, so she'll reflect on the memories that have been rushing back since she moved in. After Chelsea decides maybe they can give things another try if they go slow, Adam will suggest starting with dinner. At Nate Hastings' place, Y&R spoilers say Audra will make a confession of her own. Once Audra admits she recognized Holden Novak the first time she saw him, Nate will realize she knew he wasn't Damian Kane. Audra will admit she was so surprised that she couldn't find the words. Plus, Audra considered the possibility that Holden lied about his name when she knew him in Los Angeles and was actually Damian. Although Audra will admit to going on a few dates with Holden, she'll downplay any kind of romantic connection. Audra will reflect on when she used to work for Tucker McCall and recall a meeting with some music executives that went south. When those music execs behaved in a way that was less than gentlemanly, Holden happened to be there and intervened. Nate will be sorry Audra went through that and will seem grateful that Holden stepped up. Since Audra will sincerely apologize for not coming clean right away, Nate won't hold the past against her. After Nate gets Audra to promise that's the whole story, they'll kiss and embrace. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Audra and Nate could face more bumps in the road if she's holding something back, so stay tuned for updates on any startling news to come. For the Monday, February 24 episode of The Young and the Restless, spoilers photos show the search starting up for Phyllis and Sharon, Nate and Audra sharing a laugh, and Chelsea and Adam sharing a moment. Scenes from Genoa City. Phyllis is missing and Summer panics. She turns to her brother to try to figure out where she went and what's going on. Unfortunately, Daniel doesn't have the answers, and things are only going to get worse from there. They head over to Crimson Lights to meet with Mariah, Nick, and Chance, who are also beside themselves, because Sharon is missing too. This poses a whole new level of worry for Team Sharon. They've barely rescued her from her last bout of drama, and she's not even back on her feet yet. To go missing again so soon has to be bad. Very, very bad. The best they can hope for is that Sharon and Phyllis aren't the reason the other can't be reached. Meanwhile, watch for some tender moments between Adam and Chelsea. They spend the afternoon getting cozy in their new abode. It seems like living in such close proximity brings some old feelings to the surface. Is living together a mistake, or will this help bring them closer than ever and show them they are right where they belong? Nate and Audra are also having a fun morning. They share some good laughs while drinking their morning coffee. Is Audra overcompensating because she's holding onto a secret? Perhaps it's time she open up and spill all. Burying the truth has never worked out in her favor. The young and the restless spoilers and updates tease Ian Ward could be plotting a vengeful comeback linked to a kidnapping. Is he the mastermind behind the mysterious vanishings of Sharon Newman and Phyllis Summers? Ian's golden opportunity. In Genoa City, the belief that Ian is dead presents him with a perfect chance for revenge. The last time he was seen, he awoke with a gasp in the back of an ambulance, leaving everyone in the dark about his fate. No one has mentioned the possibility of his escape, recovery, or even arrest. Even Victor Newman is convinced that Ian is truly gone, suggesting that Ian has orchestrated an impressive ruse to secure his freedom. With his undeniable charm, it's entirely possible that he has enlisted the help of others to stage his own death, allowing him to recuperate in secrecy. Ian's had enough recuperation time. Ian may have had ample time to recover and devise another scheme for revenge. While Ray Wise's exit interview with Sode suggested that the ambulance ride marked the conclusion of his character's journey, it's possible he was merely attempting to mislead the audience. This wouldn't be the first instance of an actor throwing fans off the scent to safeguard a future plot twist. If that's true, Ian could return to stir up more trouble. Given Ian's unpredictable nature, he's always a potential threat when chaos looms. The show wanted to leave the door open for Ian's return. The series clearly aimed to keep the possibility of more Ian-related turmoil alive. It would have been simple to eliminate Ian entirely, but the decision to confirm his survival in that ambulance suggests a deeper intention. Phyllis has already faced a harrowing car accident linked to the schemes of Jordan and Ian, leaving her in a brief coma. Meanwhile, Sharon Newman has endured her own harrowing experiences due to Ian and Jordan, including a terrifying ordeal of being held hostage in a sewer. Now, the loved ones of both Sharon and Phyllis find themselves on edge once more. With someone holding them captive, the question remains, is Ian the mastermind behind this latest crisis? A clip from Monday's upcoming episode tells the tale. A sneak peek from the forthcoming U.S. episode has unveiled a shocking scene. Sharon and Phyllis lie unconscious on the grimy floor of what seems to be a damp basement apartment. As the camera sweeps across the room, it reveals a body shrouded in sheets on a bed, the head obscured as if it were in a morgue. This raises a chilling question. Could the body belong to Jordan, and has Ian somehow returned from the dead, with plans to resurrect her? Or is he merely keeping her body as a twisted reminder of his love, intending to torment Sharon and Phyllis in the process? In the world of soap operas, nothing is ever quite what it seems, especially since the last update on Jordan was that she was in the morgue. The young and the restless spoilers reveal that Victoria Newman may have a furious Summer Newman discovery coming up. Will Claire Newman's mom fight back over Summer's Kyle pursuit? Summer has already been finding subtle ways to pull Kyle closer and try to get inside his head. Since Summer has been making predictions about Kyle and Claire's doomed relationship, she's no doubt hoping she'll be proven right in the end. Victor Newman refuses to give Kyle and Claire his blessing, so Summer knows he's standing firmly against the duo. Of course, Victor isn't someone who gives up easily when he wants something, and what he wants is for Claire to be free of Kyle. This storyline will lead to Summer making some increasingly bold moves to win Kyle back for herself. That's bound to cause trouble with Victoria, since she's so determined to protect Claire from pain and give her a bright future. Claire has had enough struggles for a lifetime as far as her mom's concerned, so Victoria certainly doesn't want to watch her suffer through a terrible Kyle breakup. Although Victoria can't stop Victor from rocking the boat, she may feel differently when it comes to Summer. Victoria could easily witness some moments where Summer's clearly making plays for Kyle and trying to lock in her own reunion. Summer got some comfort from Kyle over Phyllis Summer's disappearance, so she may see the potential for more moments like that along the way. I and our fans can also expect Summer to exploit the feud between Victor and Jack Abbott, Peter Bergman, as it worsens. Kyle and Claire will be tangled up in the middle of all that, so Summer will try to use the Abbott-Newman drama to her own advantage. What happens if Victoria catches Summer making blatant attempts to pull Kyle back in her direction? At some point, Victoria might even overhear Summer flat out asking Kyle to leave Claire and come back to her. Regardless, there's the potential for Victoria to leap into action for Claire's sake. It'd be great to see some face-off scenes between Summer and Victoria at some point. Victoria won't be happy about her niece's behavior in the coming months, so we'll bring you updates on any backlash Summer will face. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Summer may have to deal with Victoria's protective wrath, so stay tuned for all the fierce family news ahead. All products and services featured are independently chosen by editors. However, Soaps.com may receive a commission on orders placed through its retail links, and the retailer may receive certain auditable data for accounting purposes. Few things are as capable of lifting us up as unconditional love. That's why our pets always hold a special place in our hearts. They're there by our side, no matter what. And that's what the Young and the Restless, Karen Grimes, felt from her beloved puggle, Riley. She loved Grimes through triumph and heartbreak for years, and was even there to meet the actor's baby son when he was born 14 months ago. Riley, though, sadly passed away shortly after Bridger's birth, 1 year ago in February, and her loss, Grimes shared on her Instagram story, is still deeply felt today. "I can't believe it's been a year since I saw you, smelled you, and held you," Mariah's portrayer shared. "I can't believe I survived a year without you, when at this moment last year, I thought I wasn't going to survive a minute." She went on to admit that, "Sometimes, your absence hits me like a ton of bricks, and I'm right back in the grief. Some days it feels like you're still everywhere. You're my girl forever. I miss you, Riley." Take a look below at Grimes' farewell tribute to Riley when her beloved pup passed away last year. Saying goodbye will always be painful, but Riley saw Grimes through so much of life, from rejoining Young and Restless as Mariah, to building a family with fiancé Brock Powell. As she wrote to Riley above, "You are, and always will be, the first to make me a mom. Thank you for walking me to the newest chapter of my life." Genoa City is no stranger to dramatic homecomings, but few are as emotionally charged as Tara Locke's unexpected return. Having lost custody of her son Harrison years ago, Tara arrives with one goal in mind: to reclaim him. However, what she doesn't anticipate is the unwavering bond that has formed between Harrison and his legal guardians, Kyle Abbott and Summer Newman. Since Tara's departure, Kyle and Summer have provided Harrison with a stable, loving home. Kyle has fought relentlessly to protect his son from the chaos of his past, while Summer has stepped into the role of mother with warmth and dedication. Harrison, wise beyond his years, has come to see Summer not just as a stepmother, but as his true maternal figure. As Tara walks back into Harrison's life, she hopes for a heartfelt reunion. She expects hesitation, maybe even some resistance, but she believes deep down that Harrison still longs for the connection they once shared. She speaks of the time they've lost and the love that binds them as mother and son. But instead of excitement, she is met with confusion and apprehension from the young boy. Harrison listens carefully as Tara pours her heart out, making promises of a new life together. She envisions taking him away from Genoa City, away from the Abbott family, and starting fresh. But with each word she speaks, the reality becomes clearer. Harrison has already chosen where he belongs. Kyle and Summer watch as their son processes Tara's unexpected return. They fear that her presence might shake the foundation they've built for him, that he might be tempted by the allure of a life with his biological mother. But Harrison's heart already knows the answer. With innocent yet profound clarity, he looks at Tara, his eyes filled with certainty, and then, with a single sentence, he shatters her hopes. Tara is stunned. The weight of those words crashes down on her, heavier than any legal battle she's fought. Tears well in her eyes as she realizes the painful truth. She has lost her son, not just in the courts, but in his heart. The bond she thought was unbreakable has faded, replaced by the unconditional love and security he has found with Kyle and Summer. The room falls silent as Kyle places a protective hand on Harrison's shoulder, reassuring him that his choice is heard and respected. Summer, emotional but strong, kneels beside him, whispering words of comfort. Tara tries to reason with herself, to argue that she still has a right to fight for him. But deep down, she knows the battle is over. She has returned, only to be reminded that time has moved on without her. Harrison is no longer the little boy she left behind. He has grown into someone who understands what love and stability truly mean. Heartbroken, Tara wipes away her tears and makes the only decision she can. She stands, looking at Harrison one last time, memorizing the face of the son she will never truly have back. Without another word, she turns and walks out the door, leaving behind a piece of herself in Genoa City. As the Abbott family breathes a collective sigh of relief, Kyle pulls Harrison into a hug, silently thanking the universe for the gift of his son. Summer exchanges a knowing glance with Kyle. This battle has ended, but their commitment to Harrison remains stronger than ever. Kara's return may have shaken their world, but in the end, Harrison's choice was clear. He belongs with the family that has loved and fought for him every step of the way. And with that, Genoa City closes the chapter on another heart-wrenching moment. One that leaves Tara Locke with nothing but regret, and a future for Harrison that remains firmly rooted in the love of his chosen family. This spoiler captures all the drama and emotion of Tara's return, leading up to Harrison's heartbreaking choice that ultimately sends her away. Let me know if you'd like any adjustments. The Young and the Restless spoilers shock. In recent days, Genoa has been gripped by a palpable tension as mysterious events have unsettled the community. The inexplicable disappearances of Phyllis and Sharon have cast long, dark shadows over the city, leaving residents and authorities alike scrambling for answers. As rumors swirl and suspicions mount, one name emerges from the chaos: Summer, a figure whose cunning ambitions now threaten to upend the delicate balance of power in Genoa. For weeks, Phyllis and Sharon had been the heartbeat of their community. Their presence, despite past conflicts and complicated histories, was a stabilizing force for many. When news broke that both women had vanished without a trace, the shock reverberated through every corner of Genoa. Their disappearance was as sudden as it was mysterious, and while the police mobilized their resources to search for clues, a chilling undercurrent of fear began to take hold. Amid the turmoil, Summer saw an opportunity, a chance to advance her own hidden agenda. Known for her ruthlessness and shrewd ability to manipulate events in her favor, Summer had long harbored a secret goal: to eliminate Cla from the picture once and for all. Cla, a model employee with an unblemished record, was someone who had never once taken an unsanctioned date off, nor had she ever neglected to call her mother when needed. Her reliability and unwavering commitment had made her a respected figure in her workplace and beyond. Yet, it was precisely this spotless reputation that made her the perfect target for Summer's malevolent plot. Unbeknownst to Cla's close friends and family, Summer had already put her plan into action. With meticulous and cold-blooded determination, she executed the unthinkable, kidnapping Cla and taking advantage of the chaos created by the disappearance of Phyllis and Sharon. Summer whisked Cla away to a secret underground location, a dark, foreboding basement that served as her personal lair. This basement was not just any hideout. It was, in effect, a tomb from which Summer had no intention of letting her victim escape. Inside the claustrophobic confines of that subterranean chamber, Cla's world was reduced to a nightmare of isolation and despair. Summer was resolute in her decision. If Clay ever managed to break free, the carefully concealed evidence of her own criminal activities would inevitably be exposed. Every moment of forced confinement was a calculated risk, ensuring that no whispers of truth could reach the outside world. And so, as the days passed, the silence of the basement deepened, echoing the cold finality of Summer's resolve. But Summer's devious machinations did not stop there. Ever the master of misdirection, she quickly concocted a plan to deflect suspicion away from herself. In a calculated move designed to muddy the investigative waters, Summer began to cast blame on an enigmatic, mysterious kidnapper. Her narrative was simple yet cunning. If the police discovered Phyllis and Sharon, they would be quick to conclude that the same elusive criminal was behind all of the kidnappings, including that of Cla. By weaving this web of deception, Summer hoped to discourage a deeper investigation into her own actions. After all, if the authorities were led to believe that a single shadowy figure was responsible, then the trail leading directly to her would be obscured by doubt. The unfolding drama soon caught the attention of Victoria and Cole, who, in the wake of Cla's sudden disappearance, found themselves unable to reach her by any means. Their attempts to contact her were met with eerie silence, a stark contrast to the regularity with which Clay communicated with her mother. This break in routine, a deviation from Cla's unwavering record of punctuality and care, set off alarm bells in the minds of those who knew her best. Both Victoria and Cole, seasoned by years of hardship and loss, were struck by a gnawing sense of foreboding. Their instincts screamed that something was terribly wrong, even as they struggled to piece together the fragments of a puzzle that was rapidly spiraling out of control. As word of the kidnapping spread through the community, the public's anxiety grew. The disappearance of two prominent figures, followed by the abduction of yet another beloved member of the community, painted a grim picture of a city under siege. Every whispered conversation in shadowed alleyways, every furtive glance exchanged in crowded cafes, fed the mounting dread that perhaps the very fabric of trust and safety was unraveling. Meanwhile, the police, far from being the unwitting pawns in Summer's grand design, had already begun to question the simplicity of her narrative. Experienced investigators knew that the human mind was capable of far more elaborate deceptions than a single mysterious kidnapper could account for. The idea that all these disparate events were orchestrated by an unseen villain seemed too convenient, a neat explanation that failed to account for the intricate details of each case. With every new piece of evidence, the authorities grew increasingly skeptical of Summer's claims. They understood that a plan so audacious could hardly be left to chance, and that somewhere within the tangled web of lies lay the fingerprints of someone who was both calculating and desperate. For Summer, however, the stakes were high, and failure was not an option. She had meticulously planned every detail, from the timing of the abductions to the precise amount of money to be used as a bribe, or perhaps as an alibi, in the unfolding investigation. Her mind raced with the consequences of a misstep. Any error could lead to the unraveling of everything she had worked so hard to achieve. Yet, despite the ever-present risk of exposure, Summer's determination did not waver. In her view, the benefits of eliminating Cla and deflecting blame were worth any cost. The young and the restless spoilers shock a reckoning at the threshold of night. Nate stumbled into his dimly lit bedroom, exhaustion etched into every line of his face. The day's burdens, old betrayals, and the weight of secrets had finally taken their toll. All he longed for was solitude, a moment to close his eyes and let the world fade into a distant hum. Before he could even sink into the silence of the room, A frantic knocking at his door shattered his fleeting respite. It was Audra again. Her insistent tapping echoed in the narrow hallway, a jarring reminder that unresolved complications had no respect for sleep or tired hearts. With a deep, reluctant sigh, Nate opened the door just a crack, enough to let Audra's tear-streaked face come into view. "You have 10 minutes, Nate stated curtly, his voice a blend of fatigue and controlled irritation. 10 minutes to explain everything. I'm not going to spend all night untangling your mess." Audra's eyes brimmed with tears as she began to speak, her voice quivering under the weight of regret and desperation. "Nate, I'm so sorry. I never meant for any of this to happen. I shouldn't have taken you to meet Holden, and I shouldn't have sat down with him to discuss." Her words faltered as sobs overwhelmed her. Nate raised a hand, cutting her off before she could spill more details. "I already know everything, Audra. Don't try to explain further," he said, his tone hard, laced with the hurt of betrayal and the inevitability of consequences that were now out of her control. For a brief, heart-wrenching moment, the room held a heavy silence, Audra's sobs filling the space, a sound that echoed the pain of regret and the onset of irreversible choices. But the gravity of the situation was far from over. Just as Nate was about to close the door on this chapter of secrets, another piece of information burst through like a storm. A crackly voice over the phone announced an explosive revelation. Audra's biological mother was scheduled to arrive in Genoa this week. The news landed like a sledgehammer in the quiet room, intensifying the already precarious atmosphere. The relationship between Audra and her mother had been anything but loving, riddled with contempt and long-simmering resentments. Now, the inevitable confrontation threatened to expose every sordid detail of Audra's clandestine plans and dirty dealings. Audra's face drained of color as she absorbed the news. "Oh my God," she whispered, her voice trembling with a mixture of fear and disbelief. The thought of her mother stepping off that plane, intent on laying bare every misdeed, was too terrifying to contemplate. She knew that once her mother arrived, there was no way to keep Nate and Amy in the dark any longer. They would learn everything. Every dirty secret, every betrayal, every desperate decision that had brought them to this very moment. In that charged instant, a desperate plan began to take shape. Audra turned to Holden, whose calm demeanor belied the gravity of the situation. "Holden, we have to stop her," she pleaded, her voice cracked with urgency. "We can't let my mother land in Genoa. If she does, everything will come crashing down. Nate and Amy will know the truth, and I can't bear the thought of that." Holden, whose loyalty had often been questioned but now shone through in his unwavering support for Audra, nodded slowly. "We do what we must," he said, his tone resolute. "But Audra, you need to understand what's at stake here. This isn't just about protecting our secrets, it's about preserving your life, and I'm not sure you're ready to do what needs to be done." Audra's eyes widened with dread as she realized the enormity of her predicament. To stop her mother, to truly ensure that none of her past misdeeds were exposed, might require more than cunning schemes or careful planning. It might demand an act so ruthless, a betrayal against the very person who had given her life, that it would forever stain her soul. I don't know if I can," she whispered, her voice barely audible above the pounding of her heart. "Could I ever do something so unthinkable? To harm my own mother just to protect myself?" The room was thick with tension as Nate listened from the threshold, his eyes hardening as he processed Audra's anguished words. His mind raced with conflicting emotions, a deep-seated worry for Audra's well-being and a simmering anger at the consequences of her actions. He knew all too well that the arrival of Audra's mother would not just unearth buried secrets. It would ignite a powder keg of family feuds and past grievances that might destroy them all. Elsewhere in the city, the wheels of destiny churned relentlessly. Nate's protective instincts had been triggered long ago by the tangled web of relationships that defined their lives. His former wives, Phyllis and Sharon, had weathered countless storms, their lives interwoven with betrayal, passion, and redemption. Now, the potential eruption of Audra's past threatened to disrupt the precarious balance they had all fought so hard to maintain. Nick and Amy, once reluctant participants in this drama, were on the brink of learning truths that might shatter their already fragile world. As the minutes ticked by, Audra's despair deepened. The possibility of her mother's arrival was not merely a personal crisis. It was an existential threat to the carefully constructed facade of her life. Every secret, every lie, every desperate decision that had led her to this moment was poised to come crashing down. And amidst it all, Holden stood as both her accomplice and her conscience, urging caution even as his own determination hardened. In the silent corridors of her mind, Audra weighed the unthinkable. Could she truly cross the line? Commit an act of unspeakable betrayal against the one person who had given her everything in a bid to preserve her own safety? The thought was abhorrent, nearly unbearable. Yet the alternative, facing the judgment of her mother, exposing every hidden truth to Nate and Amy, and losing all semblance of control over her life, was far worse. Outside, the night grew darker and colder, a reflection of the turmoil inside. Nate's tired eyes searched for answers in the half-light, knowing that every moment wasted only brought the inevitable confrontation closer. His voice, when he finally spoke again, was low and measured, carrying the weight of countless disappointments and hard-won wisdom. Audra, you need to decide, now. We're standing on the edge of a precipice. One wrong move, and everything falls apart. I can't help you if you don't help yourself. Her silence was deafening, broken only by the soft sound of her trembling breaths. The responsibility that lay before her was monstrous, and the decision she had to make would define her very existence. In the end, the choices in life are never simple. They are a tangled mess of duty, love, regret, and survival. And in this moment, Audra was forced to confront the darkest corners of her heart, where fear and ambition waged a silent war. As the clock continued to count down the minutes, the gravity of the situation pressed in on all of them. Holden's presence was a constant reminder of the precarious line between loyalty and complicity, while Nate's stern gaze conveyed the depth of his disappointment and the unyielding truth that the past could not be easily forgotten. And somewhere in the depths of the night, the specter of Audra's mother loomed, an unstoppable force of nature that threatened to upend the fragile equilibrium of their lives. In that critical juncture, the fate of so many hung in the balance.